It's my great pleasure and honor to open today's conference, Formal Approaches to Moroccan Arabic Phonology and Syntax, Structure, Variation, and Theoretical Implications. My name is Ahmed Ben Isa, and I will be your moderator and for this evening session. We are gathered here virtually to discuss fascinating linguistic architecture of Moroccan Arabic or Darija. This conference is a unique opportunity to explore its rich phonology and syntax through the lenses of formal theoretical frameworks like optimality theory and minimalism. We are exceptionally fortunate to have with us a distinguished panel of experts from Ibn Tufayl University who will be presenting their groundbreaking research and findings. Their work promises not only to deepen our understanding of Darija or Moroccan Arabic, but also to offer significant theoretical implications of the broader field of linguistics. Special thanks you to is due to our organizers and supervisors from Bitlisaniyat Academy, Dr. Marwan Skran, Professor Yassin Jamal Idrisi, Dr. Samah Haida, and the entire coordination and technical team for their incredible work in making these free accessible events possible. For our attendance, please remember that free attendance certificates will be provided, and we encourage you to engage with our speakers in the live chat with your questions and insights. So, without further ado, let's begin our exploration. It's now my privilege to introduce our first speaker, Professor Nassim Sabro, who is a deducted PhD candidate at Ibn Tufayl University, where he specializes in phonology and language acquisition. His research investigates the acquisition of complex syllable structures in Moroccan Arabic, employing optimality theory as his central theoretical framework. Through this work, Nassim is deeply committed to advancing our understanding of child language development, making significant contributions to the broader of Arabic linguistics. It is with great pleasure that I invite him to the virtual stage to present this talk. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Professor Nassim Sabro. Professor Nassim, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor Ahmed. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. First of all, I want to thank Bitlisaniyat International Academy for this opportunity. It's an honor to be here with you. So my presentation is organized into 6 main parts. So I will start with the introduction, where I set the stage for the study. Then I will look at the complex syllables in Moroccan Arabic. After that, I will discuss simplification strategies in child speech. The fourth section will explain why optimality theory is suitable framework for this research. And next, I will focus on explaining acquisition through constraint interaction. And finally, I will close with the conclusion. So this study investigates how Moroccan Arabic acquiring children deal with complex syllable structures. So focusing on consonant clusters such as onsets and codas. It examines the difficulties children face and the simplification strategies they adopt, such as epenthesis, deletion, and assimilation. So the research uses optimality theory to model acquisition, comparing 3 child age groups with the adult grammar to explain developmental patterns through constraint interactions. So according to INEGI 1991, Moroccan Arabic, which is Darija, is the main spoken variety in Morocco, existing in the glossic situation alongside Moroccan or modern Standard Arabic. And also, Heath 1987 claimed that Moroccan Arabic is distinguished by its rich consonant system and reduced vowel inventory compared to other Arabic dialects. So as we can see here, Moroccan Arabic permits a range of syllable structures. Simple types include CV and CVC, while complex structures we have CCV, CVCC, and also CCVC. They are all possible in Moroccan Arabic language. So these complex clusters make the syllable system more marked than in many other languages. And the presence of complex onsets and codas has significant implications for acquisition. Also, studies highlight that children face difficulties in producing such clusters and often rely on repair strategies to simplify the forms. So this makes Moroccan Arabic a valuable case for examining how marked syllable structures are acquired. We can see that children acquiring Moroccan Arabic face several acquisition challenges. Some of them are complex segments, complex syllable structures, complex morphological structures, and also complex syntactic structures. Here are some examples from these challenges. But in this presentation, our main focus will be only on complex syllable structures. So, as I said, children acquiring Moroccan Arabic face challenges with complex syllable structure, especially consonant clusters in onsets and codas. These mark forms are difficult to produce early in development. So, to cope with these difficulties, children rely on simplification strategies. This research shows that common strategies include vowel epenthesis, deletion, and assimilation. So here are some examples from the data. As we can see here, these strategies reflect universal tendencies in children language acquisition, while also highlighting features specific to Moroccan Arabic phonology. Moving to the framework used in this research, we can see that optimality theory, which is a framework in generative phonology that explains how surface forms are derived through the interaction of universal constraints. Also, constraints are universal but ranked differently across languages. So the model of OT relies on the competition between candidate outputs. Markedness constraints favor simple, unmarked forms, while faithfulness constraints preserve input features. So the optimal form is the one that best satisfies the ranking of constraints. Here we can see an example of how OT can work to explain the Moroccan Arabic grammar or language. So this tableau represents how optimality theory works in the Moroccan Arabic adult grammar. So as you can see, at the top, we have the input, which is the underlying form. Optimality or OT assumes that that form, which is the input, provide a wide range of possible outputs, or we can say candidates. So the columns show that the constraints, which are universal, but the ranking differs from one language to another. Some constraints penalize marked structures, while others preserve faithfulness to the input. And also, each candidate is then evaluated against these constraints. A star indicates a violation. If a violation occurs in a higher ranked constraint, that candidate is eliminated, of course. What we see here is that although multiple candidates are considered, only one emerges as the optimal output. And this is marked with a pointing hand or, as you can see, a check mark in the tableau. So in the adult grammar of Moroccan Arabic, the winning candidate is the one that best satisfies the high-ranked constraints, even if it violates some lower-ranked ones. And this shows how constraints interaction determines the surface form that's speakers actually produce. So moving on to I think I'm the slide number, yes, explaining acquisition through constraint interaction. So as we can see, the use of optimality theory can help to explain or to show how the children or how do children acquire their language. So in optimality theory, children's acquisition of syllable structure is explained through constraint demotion, a learning process where children gradually re-ranked universal constraints until they, converge on the adult grammar. So as you can see here, we have three main stages. At the beginning, in the early child grammar, markedness constraints such as star complex or coda condition outrank faithfulness constraints like max IO or dep IO. At this stage, children avoid clusters and codas by relying on strategies like epenthesis, deletion, or assimilation. As development continues, we reach an intermediate stage. Here, some of the markedness constraints are demoted. This allows certain clusters or codas to appear in the child's speech, although the grammar is still not fully adult-like. And finally, in the target stage, faithfulness constraints such as max IO and dep IO rise in the ranking. This re-ranking makes the child's grammar converge with the adult grammar, also allowing them to produce the full range of complex syllable structures in the Moroccan Arabic language. So we can say that this step-by-step demotion process captures how children move from simplified forms toward the target language. Here we can see how optimality accounts for children acquisition of complex syllable structure through the constraint ranking. On the first tableau, which represent the 2-year-old child grammar, we notice that high-ranked markedness constraints such as star complex dominate the ranking because these constraints are stronger than faithfulness constraint like max IO and dep IO. So the child avoids producing clusters or codas. So instead, they use repair strategies like deletion. This explains why the child fails to produce the full adult structure. And moving on to the next tableau, which represent the adult grammar, we see the result of constraint demotion. So over time, children gradually demote markedness constraints and promote faithfulness constraints. So in this system, markedness or max IO and dep IO rise in the hierarchy, and of course, ensuring that segments are preserved and epenthesis is avoided. So as a result, the adult grammar successfully allows the production of complex clusters. So the process works, as a recap, the process works as follows. At first, children rank markedness above faithfulness, which blocks complex forms. With development, constraint demotion occurs, lowering the force of markedness constraints, and eventually faithfulness constraints take precedence, and the children's grammar coverages on the adult system. So this comparison between the two tableaus clearly shows the developmental path from simplified outputs in early stages to accurate, and then target-like forms in the adult Moroccan Arabic. So as a conclusion, this study examines how Moroccan Arabic children acquire complex syllable structures and the strategies they use to simplify these challenges. And also using optimality theory, the analysis traces how constraint interaction explains developmental patterns across age ranges and how gradual re-ranking leads toward the adult grammar. So thank you so much. If you have any question, don't hesitate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sabro, for that truly illuminating presentation. A wonderful start of to our conference. Let's move to the second speaker. Our next speaker continues our focus on phonology and optimality theory, shifting our attention from acquisition to the verbal system. It's my pleasure to introduce Professor Adil Amghar, a doctoral researcher in linguistics at Ibn Sufyan University. His work investigates vocalic alterations in Moroccan Arabic verbs through the lens of optimality theory, with a strong background in both theoretical linguistics and language pedagogy, uh, and over a decade of teaching experience. He brings a unique and applied perspective to this research. He will now present his talk. Please join me in welcoming Professor Adil Amghar. The floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed. Second, please. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes, we hear you.
Okay.
Is this the right presentation, or should I change it?
No, I will use it. I will use another. I will
Okay.
share my screen. So please don't share it. I will share it from because I need.
No.
I will share
Yes.
my screen.
Okay. Okay. Here it is. You have control over this one?
I do. Yes. Thank you very much, Professor Ahmed.
You're
First of all, I
welcome.
would like to thank you very much and thank all the organizers of this conference for providing this valuable academic opportunity where we can exchange ideas and share some of our research findings. So the title of my presentation is Epenthetic Patterns in Moroccan Arabic Verbs, an optimality theoretic perspective on subject pronoun affixation. In this talk, I will explore how epenthesis operates within the verbal system of Moroccan Arabic. So the affixation of subject pronouns to verbs exhibits interesting alternations in terms of vowel epenthesis. Those alternations can be grouped under three major themes. So as you can see here, the first theme concerns the site of epenthesis. So in the example, ktibt, I wrote, you see that the vowel schwa is inserted after the second segment, whereas in ktbat, she wrote, you see that schwa is inserted after the first one. The second theme of alternation concerns the number of the epenthetic segments. So in the word or in the form niktib, we have four consonants, and to parse those four consonants, we use two epenthetic vowels, niktib, whereas in the form ktibt, the same number of consonants is parsed using only one single schwa, ktibt. Finally, the third theme concerns the nature or the quality of the epenthetic vowel. So in the word ktibt, you see that the vowel schwa is the epenthetic vowel used here, whereas in the verb sbit, you see that in addition to schwa, the high vowel e is also inserted. So to account for these alternations, I will attempt to answer the following questions. So the first one, what decides the site or the placement of the vowel to epenthesize? The second question, what determines the number of the epenthetic vowels? And the third one, what selects the nature of the vowel? So before answering these questions, I would like to very quickly overview the framework, the theoretical framework, which is optimality theory. So according to OT, a grammar is composed of these components. The first one is called lexicon, which is the mental dictionary where all lexemes are stored. The second component is called generator. The generator generates an infinite set of candidates. And the third component is called evaluator. This device contains constraints ranked in a language-specific order. This evaluator evaluates or assesses candidates against a set of ranked constraints. So here, how OT functions. So first, we take an input from the lexicon and we feed the generator. Then the generator generates an infinite set of candidates. Those candidates are assessed according to the ranking of constraints in the evaluator, and each candidate will be blocked by a constraint and only one output will surface. Okay, so now let's move to epenthesis in triconsonantal verbs. So here I distinguish two types of verbs. The first type of verbs, I call them normal triconsonantal verbs, where the two last consonants are distinct. So here, as an example, we have ktip. So the second and third consonants are different. The second type of or category of verbs is called geminate triconsonantal verbs. In this category, the two last consonants are identical. An example is the verb sid. So we see that the second and third consonants are the same. So let's start with the normal triconsonantal verbs. So here the data presents the conjugation of the verb ktib, to write, in the perfective with different pronouns. So the data can be categorized into two sets, A and B. So as you can see in the set A, ktibt, ktibti, ktib, ktibna, ktibtu, schwa is inserted after the second segment. Whereas in the data set B, ktbat and ktbu, you see that schwa is inserted after the first one. So now let's focus on the data set A. Here, epenthesis occurs after the second segment. So why do we say, for example, ktib and not kitb? So we know that schwa epenthesis is triggered by the need for parsing consonantal segments. The input or the root contains only consonants, so we need to parse or to insert a vowel to allow the parsing of consonants. So in inserting the vowel, we have two possibilities. Either we insert it after the first segment, we get kitb, or after the second segment, and we get ktib. So why the surface form ktib surfaces instead of kitb? So the answer of this one is that there is a constraint called a line right major syllable, which is at play. So what does this constraint say is that the rightmost segment of the root has to be aligned with the rightmost segment of the major syllable. And here I need to explain what is the difference between a major syllable and a minor one. So if you see here at, use the pointer, okay, here we have the syllable tip. This is a major syllable because it contains a vowel, whereas the consonant k is called a minor syllable because it doesn't contain a vowel. So what does a line right major syllable says is that the rightmost segment b in the input tip, k, t, b, has to be aligned with the rightmost syllable of the major, the rightmost segment of the major syllable, which means tib. We need to have b at the rightmost edge of the major syllable. So the form ktib, we see that b is at the right, is aligned to the right, but here the major syllable here is kit, which means that t is aligned to the right edge of the major syllable and b is parsed as a minor syllable in violation of this constraint, align right major syllable. So this is why the form or the output form ktib surfaces instead of kitb. So here you can see this tableau which explains the constraint hierarchy determining the selection of ktib instead of kitb. So you can see here, let's start with ktib. with parsing k and t as a complex onset. So this candidate is eliminated by the constraint start complex because Moroccan Arabic doesn't allow complex onsets. Candidate B, on the other hand, parses the segment B as a minor syllable, and this is why it is eliminated by the constraint align right major syllable, because B needs to be a part of the major syllable, not a minor one. Candidate A here wins the competition because B is at the right edge of the major syllable. So now let's focus on the set B, where schwa is inserted after the first segment, ktbat and ktbu. So why here schwa shifts its position? So this is because, these candidates, we can see that align right major syllable is violated, of course, because B is not at the right edge of the major syllable. It is a non-set here. So why are these items misaligned? So the suffixes that are attached to these verbs are at and u, ktbat, ktbu. At and u, these suffixes start with a vowel, which means that the vowels at and u, they force the last consonant of the root, which is b, to be a non-set of this syllable, and therefore it forces the violation of align right major syllable. So this says that the constraint onset is ranked highly in the is higher than the constraint align right major syllable. And here is an illustration. So kitbat, or let's take this one, ktib at. So this one, with inserting schwa after the second segment, we will have at, a syllable without onset. This violates the constraint onset, and this candidate therefore is eliminated. Candidate A, it violates align right major syllable, but this is for the sake of securing the onset, the more important constraint onsets. So here you can see that the constraint hierarchy, or the constraint interaction, determines which candidate is to surface. So we can say, answering the first question regarding the site of epenthesis, we can say that schwa is to be inserted after the second segment in satisfaction of align right major syllable. However, if the subject pronoun suffix starts with a vowel like u and at, align right major syllable is violated to secure onset. Therefore, the alternations in terms of the site of schwa epenthesis are due to the conflict between the constraint onset and align right major syllable. Now let's move on to discuss the alternation in the terms of the number of the epenthetic vowel. So here we have the verb ktib conjugated with first person singular masculine or feminine. So in the imperfective we say ktib, and in the perfective we say ktibt. So we can see that we have in the input 4 consonants, n, k, t, b in the imperfective, and k, t, b, t in the perfective. So we can see that in the imperfective, we insert 2 schwas. We say nik, tib, and we don't say nkitb. Whereas in the perfective, we say ktibt, and we by inserting 1 single schwa, and we don't say kitbit. So the answer to the question to ask here is why a 4 consonantal cluster is syllabified differently. So here, this is because the same constraint align right major syllable is decisive. So let's analyze how this works. So in niktib, we need to satisfy align right major syllable. We need this segment in red, b, to be aligned to the right edge of the major syllable. So let's do that. So we have tib, and we are left with 2 unparsed segments, n and k. So 2 adjacent unparsed segments, this cannot be satisfied without inserting another schwa, and we get niktib. So here we resort to double epenthesis to parse the segments of 4 consonants. However, in the perfective ktib plus t, ktibt, we need the very same segment b to be aligned to the right edge of the major syllable. So let's do that first. So we have tib. Now b is at the right edge. We are now left with 2 unparsed segments, but these segments are marginal. So we can allow these segments to be minor syllables without resorting to an additional epenthesis. So, and here we get ktibt. So this is why in the imperfective we insert two schwas, because the subject pronoun added here is a prefix n, whereas in the perfective the suffix that is added is a suffix. So here we can see that there is an interaction between morphology and phonology in determining the size of or the number of epenthetic vowels. So therefore, the alternation in terms of the number of epenthetic vowels is due to the conflict between line right major syllable and dep io, the constraint militating against epenthesis. So moving on to the nature of epenthetic vowels. So here, this phenomenon is attested in geminate verbs. As we said, geminate verbs are verbs where the two last consonants are identical. So here we have the data shows the conjugation of the verb to sit to close in the perfective. So the data is categorized into three sets, A, B, and C. So in the set of data A, sdet and stu, we see that these are this conforms to the data we have just described concerning schwa epenthesis after the first segment, like ktbet and ktbu. So this is the same. This is because we have vowel initial suffixes at and u, and onset dominates a line right major syllable because we have to say sdet and not sddet. Let's move on to the set B, sid. So why this one is misaligned? Because like we say ktib, we have schwa inserted after the second segment. Why don't we say sdid? And we say sid. We insert schwa after the first segment. So the answer to this question goes to the effect of the constraint gem integrity. So in a gemination or geminate segments, they resist epenthesis. We cannot insert schwa between the elements of a geminate. So this double or those segments d and d cannot be split by phonological epenthesis, and this is why gem integrity bans epenthesis between geminates, and therefore its domination to the constraints align right major syllables makes candidates that are misaligned to surface like sid. So sid surfaces instead of sdid, which means that having a misaligned output form is more tolerated than having a split geminate. So now let's move to the data set C. So in C, you can see that we say dits, ditis, dinas, dito. So in addition to schwa epenthesis, we can see here that a high vowel emerges. This is the vowel E. So we say ktibt, but we don't say sdit, we say sdit, sditi. So we can see that there is an E epenthesis here. So now let's focus on this set of data which triggers high vowel epenthesis. So this data can be further divided into two sets, A and B. In the set of data A, you can see that the high vowel E is inserted, but all the syllables where E is inserted are open. So because here, if we insert schwa, we know that schwa is a moraless or a non-mora bearing vowel. It needs a coda with which it shares a mora. So because schwa cannot head an open syllable, so here we resort to high vowel epenthesis because the vowel E is moraic, which means it can head an open syllable. The data in B is problematic because we have E epenthesis in a closed syllable. So why is this? What motivates high vowel epenthesis in a closed syllable? So here I propose this constraint, dep schwa stem finely, which means do not epenthesize schwa stem finely. And I have reviewed all Moroccan Arabic verbs, they do not insert schwa at the end of the stem. Therefore, we can say that Moroccan Arabic, and contrary to the wide believed assumption that Moroccan Arabic has only one epenthetic vowel, which is schwa, I claim that Moroccan Arabic has two epenthetic vowels. Schwa is the default epenthetic vowel and is inserted internally, whereas E is inserted root finally. So we have two epenthetic vowels. One is inserted between the segments of the root, and when we need insertion at the end of the stem, we resort to high vowel epenthesis. So we can say that schwa is the default epenthetic vowel in Moroccan Arabic. It is inserted to allow the parsing of segments. However, its non-moraic status prevents it from occurring root finally. A high vowel is inserted in such contexts. Therefore, the quality of the epenthetic vowel, schwa or e, is determined by the context of epenthesis. So to conclude, we can say, answering the three questions regarding the site, the number, and the nature of epenthetic vowels. Concerning the site, we can say that schwa is to be inserted after the second segment in satisfaction of a line right major syllable, unless this conflicts with some higher constraints, namely the constraint onset in vowel initial subject pronouns morphemes, at and u, and when it conflicts with the constraint gem integrity in geminate verbs. Regarding the number of epenthetic vowels, in suffixed verbs, which means the perfective, when we need to add a suffix, not a prefix, so minimal epenthesis of schwa is sufficient to satisfy a line right major syllable. But in prefixed verbs, when we add a prefix, namely in the imperfective, Moroccan Arabic resorts to double epenthesis, as epenthesis of one vowel fails to satisfy a line right major syllable. And regarding the nature of the epenthetic vowels, schwa is the default epenthetic vowel in Moroccan Arabic. However, it is illicit in a root final position, and we can say that Moroccan Arabic has two distinct epenthetic vowels, each of which is contextually bound. Schwa is inserted root internally, and E, the high vowel E, is inserted root finally. So my presentation has come to an end. Thank you very much for your time, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you. Mr. Amghar Adil, for your clear and insightful presentation. A wonderful contribution to our understanding of Moroccan Arabic. Thank you again. Now let's move to next session. It's time to introduce our speaker, Professor Saeed Rafi', who is a deducted fourth year doctoral student specializing in linguistics with a research focus on both the theoretical and applied aspects of language structure. He brings a valuable perspective to his work, reinforced by the 3 years of practical experience teaching English, which has strengthened his skills in linguistics analysis. He will now present his talk. Please, the floor is yours, Mr. Said. Rafi'. The
Okay.
presentation.
Yes.
Here it is.
Okay. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
And, okay. And can you see the presentation?
A moment, please. I need to change it because we have two presentations. Here it is, your presentation now.
Okay.
Please.
So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, dear organizers and professors and colleagues. First, I would like to thank the organizers of this event and everyone who worked behind the scenes in Bitlisaniyat. Actually, I'm glad to be with my friends and colleagues from the same university. Well, without further ado, let's dive into the presentation. Affixation as a phonological and morphological constituent element, the case of Akun in the Kenitra dialect. Well, first let's take a look at the literature of affixation in Moroccan Arabic. Here we have two data sets. The first one, the goal or the infix e is inserted within the word to derive noun from verbs. For example, we have the verb drab. We infix e within the word or the stem to derive the noun drab. We have drab. We infix e to derive drab. Also, we have the verb jbit. We infix e to derive the noun jbit. Moving on to the next data set here, formation of abstract nouns. Here we have two things, gemination, at the same time infix. Let's take a look at the first example here, number one. Let's, okay, this one here. Yeah, laser point, okay. Look at this one here. We have fleh, and it becomes flah. This one is geminated. The L is geminated. At the same time is an infix. And here again we have teflaht. The same thing for shfar, shfar. As you can see here, the F which is in bold is infixed and geminated to derive noun of profession. Moving on to the next case, which is causative form. Causative form, we have ktib. Again, we have kittib. We geminate the t to derive causative, and at the same time, it's an infix. Shrab, no, sorry, harab, harab, and shrab, sharab. Now that we have covered this, let's take a look at the infix in question. We have here akun. Take a look at the structure of this infix here. It starts with a vowel and ends with a consonant. This is not haphazard. We will see the reason for this in the next slides. Okay, so we have the structure CVC. The word beat, room, is secretized as bekunit. Look at this akun here. It is inserted after the first consonant in the onset and before the vowel, the nucleus of the syllable here. To show it here clearly, look at this one here. This is syllabified as ba, ku, nit. As I mentioned before, the shape of akun is not haphazard. Why? Because it is inserted after the first consonant. Since Moroccan Arabic doesn't allow onsetless syllable, as Mr. Adid has mentioned earlier, so the B here occupies the onset of the first syllable to satisfy onsetless syllable in Moroccan Arabic, which is a higher ranked constraint. Also, the same thing here. N of kun is assigned to the next syllable here to satisfy the onsetless syllable in Moroccan Arabic. Moving on to the next structure here, we have CCVC. The word kla is derived in this secret language as klakuna. I believe that Mr. Adil talked also about minor syllable here. Okay, you can see from this data here, you can deduce that akun is inserted after the consonant or after the second consonant if we have a cluster of consonants. In fact, it's not. There is a constraint that forces akun to be infixed before the initial vowel of the stem, as we will see in the next slides. So the structure here we have CV. When we want to derive a secret language in this dialect, Kinetwa, we insert akun before the first vowel of the stem. So this is the data from the secret language in question. We have the word Sa'id. We derive the secret word or the concealing secret word as Sakuna'id. As you can see here, we have akun. So akun is before the first vowel of the word Sa'id here. The same thing here. Tabla is derived as takunabla. Here we have the word kla. We cannot derive kakunla. This one is not an attested form in this secret language, but it is derived as klakuna here. Why? because, as I said earlier, there is a constraint, a high-ranked constraint that forces a kun to be inserted before the first vowel of the stem. That's why we cannot have this form right here. Moving on to this one here, shra, we cannot have shakuna. So the attested form is shrakuna. Here we have harash, harakunish. Moving on to the next slide, we will see the constraints that are at play to derive the harmonic output or the attested output. We have onset, affixed to initial root vowel, dep IO, minor syllable, complex margin, parse sec. I will explain these constraints here. So we have affixed to initial root vowel. This one states that the affix akun should be before the initial root vowel of the word. We have sakunai. So here is the initial root vowel, a. Also, we have this one here, a. And here is the initial root vowel, kla, of the word kla, sorry, as you can see here. So we have parsec. This word here is not syllabified. It should be parsed. As Mr. Adil also claimed before, we have to insert schwa to satisfy this constraint parsec. It becomes ktibt. Moving on to the next constraint here, we have complex. Moroccan Arabic doesn't allow complex margins. So we have here kt. This is a complex onset. To resolve this, we assign the first consonant k as a minor syllable to avoid the violation of complex here. So this is minor syllable, and this one is a major syllable. This is the tableau that derives the optimal output, which is takunabla. As you can see here, there is no violation of affix to initial root vowel. The word tabla, this is the first or the initial root vowel. It's here. So the akun is inserted before it. Onset, there is no syllable that doesn't have onset. As you can see, takuna, no onset. We don't have a syllable that ends with schwa. We don't have here complex margins. We have la, nab, ku, ta, dep. The same material in the output is preserved in the input. We have not epenthicized any segment here. Minor syllable, we don't have a minor syllable here. Moving on to the next candidate. As you can see here, akun is not infixed before the initial root vowel. So there is a fatal violation here. So here is the initial root vowel. So akun is not infixed before it. Onset. We have two violations of onset here. We have this one, a, and here, un. All lower constraints are satisfied here. Moving on to candidate C. The same thing here. Akun is not infixed before the initial root vowel. We have a fatal violation here. Here we have schwa, a syllable that has a schwa. So that's why we have violation of this constraint here. We inserted the schwa here, which doesn't exist in the input here. So that's why we have a violation of dep IO, this one here. No minor syllable is presented here. Again, the same thing here. The akun dummy infix is not infixed before the first vowel of the stem. It fatally violates this constraint. This candidate fatally violates this constraint. And here we have a violation of complex, as you can see here, tabla. You see, we have a complex onset here, blah. This candidate here resolves this problem by assigning b as a minor syllable. That's why we have a minor syllable as a lower constraint here. So moving on to tab here. Okay. So let's move to candidate E. The same thing. Akun is not infixed before the initial root vowel. We have a fatal violation here. Akun tabla also, akun is not infixed before the initial root vowel, and we have two answerless syllables. We have ak and un. That's why we have two violations here. And finally, we have violation of minor syllable here. So to resolve the problem of having a complex margin, the language resorts to assign this minor syllable here. Okay, yeah, this one here. So to conclude, this study concluded by asserting that the insertion of the dummy infix, which is akun, consistently takes place before the initial root vowel of the stem. We argued that the dummy infix cannot attach to a single consonant lacking a vowel. In order to have akun attached to a stem, there should be CV structure, okay? Because akun starts with a vowel and ends with a consonant. There should be a CV structure for the infix to be attached to. The analysis reveals that the interaction among constraints affixed to initial root vowel onset, complex, dominate, dep, then dep IO dominates minor syllable, align akun left, demonstrates why infixation is placed before the initial root vowel. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Si Said, for your interesting presentation. Excellent work on bringing this hidden structure to light. Moving forward, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Nabil Kajouti, who is a deducted PhD student in linguistics at Epenthetic University. Building upon his master's degree in the same field, he brings a strong multidisciplinary background to his research with extensive training and there's some there are some noise coming from someone. Okay,
Do you hear
so
me?
now we hear you. Some noise are coming from somewhere. Okay, Mr. Nabil, the floor is yours. You can start your presentation. Mr. Nabil, Sabro.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, no, we hear you now. Mr. Nabil, do you hear us? Please activate the mic, Mr. Nabil.
Do you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
So thank you, Professor Ahmed, for moderating this wonderful and insightful meeting. So first of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Bitlisaniyat, to Mrs. Samahida, the coordinated committee, and to all members of the institution. I would also like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the organizing committee for their effort and to the audience for being here today. So as you can see, uh, by the title, this presentation focuses on the study of vowel adjacency in the formation of nisba in Moroccan Arabic city names, and on the strategy the language adopts to resolve this adjacency. Uh, as for the outline, it goes like in the introduction, I will explore how languages deal with vowel clashes, focusing on Moroccan Arabic. Second is hiatus resolution in human languages, where we take a look at how languages in general handle these vowel conflicts and the strategies they use to smooth them out. Next, we will go through Moroccan Arabic constraints conflict, zooming in on Moroccan Arabic we see that certain phonological constraints can intervene, creating interesting patterns in how hiatus is resolved. In the data presentation, I present examples from Moroccan Arabic that highlight these patterns and reveal how the language navigates vowel clashes. Afterwards, I will consider the derivation of Nisba in Moroccan Arabic. Here we will see how Nisba is derived with consonant final roots. Following that, and in hiatus resolution strategy, I examine the strategy Moroccan Arabic employs to resolve these vowel conflicts and maintain smooth pronunciation. On the other hand, I will consider data where there is an inconsistency in driving nisba in Moroccan Arabic. For example, not all forms follow the rules consistently. We will explore these irregularities and what they tell us about constraints interaction. And finally, I will sum up the most interesting findings in the conclusion. So let's begin with the concept of hiatus. Hiatus occurs when two vowels appear in adjacent syllables, as noted by Castley, 1998, 2011, and Candigi, Simango, 2014. This is not a curiosity, it's a widespread phenomenon. Across languages, hiatus is generally avoided, and speakers use different strategies to resolve it. To understand these patterns, we adopt optimality theory, which analyzes how languages balance faithfulness constraints, keeping forms unchanged, against smartness constraints, which prefer simpler, more natural structures. So our study focuses on Moroccan Arabic, specifically on how city names resolve V1, V2 sequences, giving us a clear window into the interaction of these constraints. To guide our analysis, we refer to Castley 2011 classification of hiatus resolution strategies, which provides a useful framework for understanding the patterns we observe. Languages that tolerate and accept vowel hiatus. Languages which put more limitations on the context where they occur. The third class of languages disallow them strictly, as what happens in Moroccan Arabic. As for the hiatus resolution in human languages, they start with vowel deletion. In this repair strategy, Castley 1998, 2011 explains that one of the vowels in a hiatus sequence is deleted. Either the vowel of the functional word V2 is removed, as in Itzaku, a language, or the vowel of the base word V1 is deleted, as in Okipi. Another strategy is coalescence. Another tested strategy is coalescence in Attic Greek. Has 1988 points out that instead of deleting one of the vowels, the language merges the features of both vowels into a single one. This strategy isn't unique to Greek. It appears in languages like Old Portuguese, Korean, Cubic, French, and Ottoman. For example, when a root ends in E and combines with the suffix A, the two vowels merge into aye, which is pronounced as a long vowel. There is also something called symmetric coalescence. In this case, if a root ends in a and the suffix starts with o, they merge into o. So next we have glide formation. According to Castley 2011, drawing on Tucker 1962, and Katamba 1985, in Ganda, the first vowel in a hiatus sequence is turns into a semi-vowel, while the second vowel is lengthened. For example, mu-iku becomes muiku. This strategy isn't unique to Ganda. It also shows up in languages like Indonesian, Larik, Eastern Ojibwa, and obolo. It tends to occur especially when the first vowel is a high vowel.
Mr. Nabil, we don't hear you. Please activate the mic. It seems that Mr. Kajuti is facing some technical problems. Mr. Kajuti?
Do you still hear me?
No, your voice was
Do you
not.
hear me?
Now we hear you. Yeah, we hear you now. We hear you.
Do you
Please
hear me,
continue.
colleagues?
Yes, please continue.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Please continue.
I don't hear you.
Yes, you can just continue. Continue. Okay.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
So let's continue our presentation. As I said, next is diphthongization. So instead of deleting a vowel, some languages merge the two vowels into one diphthong. For example, in Nigiti, Abuvu plus Aji becomes, as you see, the meeting of two vowels, O and A, becomes a single smooth syllable, keeping both vowels features. So we have now let's look at vowel assimilation or dabbling. In Hiroshima, Japanese, Kawahara and Hara 2014 show that when a root ending in a vowel combines with the accusative affix O, the suffix takes on the root vowel's features. For example, Sora plus O becomes Sora, Tama plus O becomes Tama, and Saro plus O becomes Saro. This strategy harmonizes the vowel sequence, naturally keeping the word smooth without deleting or adding anything. So let's now talk about Moroccan Arabic constraints conflicts. So I will talk briefly about what Moroccan Arabic prefers and what it doesn't prefer. So in Moroccan Arabic, CV syllables are preferred, minor syllables are allowed, and epenthetic sounds like schwa and glottal stop help prepare tricky syllables. So, however, unsettled syllables, complex clusters without repair, and unparsed consonants are not tolerated. Hiatus resolution strategy and its conflict. So, a concise scrutinizing at the data showcases that Moroccan Arabic opts for the insertion of w to resolve the problem. Hence, we see that the word sla plus the nisba morpheme e ends up like slowy. This language has various choices to come up with more harmonized output. We will see the other possible strategies and why they don't align with Moroccan Arabic constraints ranking. So the nisba formation in Moroccan Arabic is done through a morphological operation where the suffix e is attached to the base like rabat becomes rabati from rabat. On the other hand, if the base final sound is vowel, the strategy adopted is inserting the back glide u. So the word sla ends up like slowy. The question here is how the other attested strategies be manifested in Moroccan Arabic. So as you can see here, an OT tableau which explains the different components and the different candidate sets. So let's take a look at candidate A. It loses the competition because it fails to comply with the highly ranked constraint onset. Uh, Now let's consider C, uh, which is SLE, where the base final vowel gets deleted. To eliminate forms with deleted segments, we suggest that max IO, the constraint arguing that input segments must have output correspondence, no deletion, outranks the dominated constraint depth and equally ranked with regard to the onset. D loses the competition because the adopted strategy is not welcome for two reasons. First, Moroccan Arabic does not include diphthongs underlinely except in rural areas. Second, it is simply not a good way to resolve the problem. Candidate E and F incur a fatal violation with regard to the unnominated constraints dubbed star complex and max IO mora. This violation of the structurally well-formed output leads them to lose the competition. As for the candidate G, it loses the competition because it doesn't respect the appropriate possession of the Nisba morpheme. Candidate H feels as it doesn't conform to the stipulation of the high ranking of max IO mora and uniformity IO. No element of the output has multiple correspondence in the input. So the inconsistency in driving this by Moroccan Arabic. From the previous table, we introduced that we conclude that the hiatus induced boundary is resolved via the insertion of the back glide U. However, it is not the case for city names like Qanitra, where the surface form is supposed to be Qanitrawi. The optimal form, therefore, surfaces as Qanitri. The constraint that eliminates these candidates is align nisba to the right base. And since the input include a feminine suffix a, it should be deleted before the alignment of the nisba morpheme. As a conclusion, the constraints that disfavor no hiatus is onset in Moroccan Arabic. So we use onset as a constraint that eliminates any meeting of two vowels, V1 and V2, rather than no hiatus. And the attested strategy is the insertion of U to avoid the constraints onset. The attachment of the Nisba morpheme must align with the word boundary. So we have to delete any segment that comes at the end of the base form after we attach it, we attach E to it. So for future research, the nature of the insertion is not understood, since there are other tested sounds that could do well in avoiding hiatus. And I can tell you that there are a lot of inserted segments, and why Moroccan Arabic favor U and sometimes as the inserted elements rather than the other tested inserting elements. So thank you for your attention, and welcome to any question. I welcome any question. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kajjoti Nabil, for that clear and insightful analysis. And now for our final presentation of the conference.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, we move to the next presentation. It's my great pleasure to introduce Professor Mohammed Al-Muqaddam. Mohammed is a PhD candidate in the Department of English at Ibn Tufayl University. His research employs the Minimalist Program to investigate the complicated syntax and semantics of resumptive pronoun in a Moroccan Arabic. He brings a strong foundational knowledge in syntactic and morphological theory to this work. He will now present his speech. Please join me in giving a welcome to our final speaker, سي محمد المقدم. The floor is yours. سي محمد المقدم is facing some technical problems. So let's start the discussion until he could participate and deliver his presentation. So let's start by the first question that was shared by yes, Hasna Al-Hakim. She says, to what extent can formal phonological and syntactic approaches reveal the influence of other languages? Berber, French, Spanish. She means Tamazight and Tarifit, and on the structure of Moroccan Arabic. Please, you can activate the mic if you want to answer this question or to give your feedback.
Okay, I can answer Ms. Hisna.
Okay.
Okay, so her question is, to what extent can formal phonological and syntactic approaches reveal the influence of other languages, Berber, French, Spanish, on the structure of Moroccan Arabic? So as we all know that different varieties of Arabic have different phonological patterns and different syntactic patterns. An example from Moroccan Arabic is that we have clusters that are not allowed in other Arabic varieties. For instance, in standard Arabic, we structure CV, CV, CV. So after each consonant, we need a vowel. And due to the influence of the Berber language, which allows clusters, Moroccan Arabic does allow them too. So we have ktib instead of kataba. So we have this vowel reduction, and the influence of Berber can be seen on the phonology of Moroccan Arabic. Regarding syntax, you can see also that all noun phrases or nouns in standard Arabic are marked for case. So you say al-waladu is not al-walada. Al-waladu is subject, al-walada is object. But in Moroccan Arabic, because it lacks this case marking on nouns, so the word order is a bit fixed and not is a bit.
Can you hear me? Can
Yes,
you hear me?
yes, Mr. Muqaddam. Just a moment until Mr. Adil finished the answer, and we will get you back to your presentation.
So
Yes,
the word
Mr.
order in standard Arabic is flexible. So you can have the word order SVO starting with the subject, al-waladu akala tufahata, or you can start also with the verb akala al-waladu tufahata, because we understand where is the subject just by this case marking. In standard Arabic, which lacks case marking akin to the Berber language, so this flexibility is not attested. So by investigating formal and phonological and syntactic approaches, we can investigate the influence of other languages on the linguistic patterns of Moroccan Arabic. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Amghar, for your rational and insightful answer. So now let's get back to Mr. Mohammed Al-Muqaddam. Are you ready to deliver your presentation?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so the floor is yours.
Okay. So, can you hear me now?
Yeah, the voice is clear.
Okay, yeah, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Bitlisaniyat International Academy for organizing this conference. And in this presentation, I will discuss resumption in WH interrogatives in Moroccan Arabic. And this presentation has two goals. The first goal is to provide a descriptive account of the distribution of gaps and resumptive pronouns in Moroccan Arabic WH interrogatives, more specifically in interrogatives. And the second goal is to provide a syntactic analysis of gaps and resumptive interrogatives within the Minimalist program. Now I will move to the key concepts, starting with resumptive pronouns. Resumptive pronouns refer to the overt pronominal elements found in the variable possession of include relative clauses, WH questions, and comparative clauses, dislocation and focus structures. Now I will move to another key concept, which is WH interrogatives. So as you know, WH interrogatives are a type of question that typically begins with a WH word. In Moroccan Arabic, WH interrogatives include شكون, شنو, إنا, شحال من, فوقاش, فين, كيفاش, and علاش. I will limit the discussion to inner interrogatives only. However, the proposed analysis applies to other interrogatives. Now I will move to the roadmap of this presentation. So in the first half of this presentation, I provide a descriptive account of the distribution of gaps and resumptive pronouns in interrogatives in non-island and in island and crossover contexts. In the second half of this presentation, I provide a minimalist analysis of gaps and resumptive interrogatives in island and crossover contexts. Now I will move to talk about the distribution of resumptive pronouns in interrogatives in non-island contexts. Resumptive pronouns in interrogatives can be obligatory, can be optional, can be impossible. So resumptive pronouns are obligatory in embedded subject possession, in embedded direct object possession, in indirect object possession, in prepositional object possession, and in possessor possession. On the other hand, resumptive pronouns are optional in indirect object possession. In contrast, resumptive pronouns in interrogatives are impossible in the highest subject possession. Now I will move to talk about the possessions in which resumptive pronouns are obligatory. So let's begin with the embedded subject. Here in the E example is grammatical because it has a gap, and it has a resumptive pronoun, and this resumptive pronoun is obligatory. The B example is not grammatical because it has a gap. Now I will move to talk about another possession, which is the embedded direct object possession. Here, the resumptive pronoun is obligatory, as shown by the E example. However, the B example is not grammatical because it has a gap. Now to another possession in which resumptive pronouns are obligatory. Here in the E example, we have a resumptive pronoun, and that's why the structure is grammatical. However, the B example is not grammatical because it has a gap. So now I move to another possession in which resumptive pronouns are obligatory, which is a prepositional object. Here, in this example, in a بلاد سافرت ليها, the resumptive pronoun is obligatory. If the resumptive pronoun is not there, the result will be grammatical, as shown by the B example. Here in بلاد سافرت لي, we have here a gap, and that's why this structure is not grammatical. Now I will move to talk about another possession in which resumptive pronouns are obligatory, which is possessor possession. Here in the E example, we have a resumptive pronoun. That's why this structure is grammatical. So in the B example, we have a gap, and that's why this example is not grammatical. And now I will move to talk about the possessions in which resumptive pronouns are optional. So resumptive pronouns are optional in interrogatives in direct object possession. In this possession, resumptive pronouns are optional, as shown by these examples. In this E example, we have a gap, and in the B example, we have a resumptive pronoun. The presence or absence of the resumptive pronoun does not impact the soundness of the structure. Now I will move to the possessions in which resumptive pronouns are impossible. Here, in this examples here in the 7a, we have a gap. This example is grammatical because there is no resumptive pronoun. Whereas the B example, it has a resumptive pronoun. Resumptive pronoun cannot occur in the subject possession. That's why the B example is not grammatical. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. The voice is clear. Yeah, we hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we hear you, Mr. Mohammed. Yeah, your voice is clear. We hear you. Mr. Mohammed, just go on. Go on. Okay. Okay, now there is, it seems that, okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you. Yeah, just continue.
Yeah. Let me first share the slides.
Yeah, okay. Here is the presentation again.
Okay.
Can move to the slide. That's one.
Yeah, yeah. I was discussing. Okay. The slides are okay. Okay, they are moving now. Okay. I was discussing the possessions in which resumptive pronouns are optional. So in this example here, we have in this example, the resumptive pronoun is optional. Its presence or absence does not impact the grammatical soundness of the structure. Now I will move to talk about the possessions in which resumptive pronouns are impossible. So here in the 7a, the 7a example is grammatical because it has a gap, whereas the 7b is not grammatical because it has a resumptive pronoun. So resumptive pronoun, it's grammatical because resumptive pronouns cannot occur in the highest subject's possession, and this is referred to as the highest subject constraint, which states that a resumptive pronoun is excluded from the highest subject possession. Now we move to talk about, however, in certain contexts, resumptive pronouns can occur in the highest subject possession, as shown by this example here. In ina ممثلة شفتي هي وراجلها, here هي is a resumptive pronoun, and it is in the highest subject possession, and it is grammatical. Now I will move to talk about resumption and islands in ina interrogatives. Islands are nodes which abstract syntactic movement. In island context, ina interrogatives with gaps are not grammatical, whereas those with resumptive pronouns are grammatical. I will illustrate this using WH island, adjunct island, and complex NP islands. So let's begin with WH islands. Here, in the E example, the E example is not grammatical because it has a gap, and the use of this gap violates the island. Whereas the B example is grammatical because it has a resumptive pronoun. Now to adjunct islands. Adjunct island here in the E example is not grammatical because it has a resumptive pronoun, whereas the B example is grammatical because it has a resumptive pronoun. The use of this gap here in the E example violates the island, whereas the use of this resumptive pronoun in the B example does not violate the island. Now we'll move to complex NP islands. In E example, we have a gap. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Um, in the E example here, the E example is not grammatical because it has a gap, whereas the B example is grammatical because it has a resumptive pronoun. The use of the gap makes violates the island, whereas the use of the resumptive pronoun does not violate the island. Now I will move to talk about the distribution of resumptive pronouns in crossover context. Crossover describes the case where movement of a WH constituent cannot cross a pronoun bearing the same index. There are two types of crossover. We have weak crossover and strong crossover. Strong crossover occurs when an element is e prime moved over a commanding element which it is context with. And in strong crossover, two principles are violated: condition C of the binding theory and the constraint on bound anaphora. Now I will move to weak crossover. Weak crossover occurs when an element is prime moved over a coreferent pronoun that does not command the trace. In a weak crossover, condition is violated. However, the constraints on bound anaphora is violated. Now I will discuss weak crossover in inner interrogatives. Here in this example, there is a gap, and that's why the weak crossover is violated. Whereas here in this example, there is a resumptive pronoun, and the weak crossover is not violated. Now I will move to examine strong crossover in interrogatives. Here in this example, there is a gap, and that's why the structure is not grammatical. Whereas here we have a resumptive pronoun, and that's why the structure is grammatical. Now to the theoretical assumptions. The analysis of resumption in interrogatives in Moroccan Arabic is set within the Minimalist Program. So the following are the concepts that I use in my analysis of interrogatives. I use agree, match, and phase theory. So what is agree? Agree is an operation that forms a relation between a probe and a goal. The probe has invalued features, and the goal has valued features. And the operation agree deletes the invalued features. Now I will move to the operation match. Match is an operation that forms a matching relation between a probe and a goal. Match is only concerned with the attributes of the features. This is unlike the operation agree. Now I will talk about the phase theory. The phase consists of the phase head, its specifier, and its complement. Within the phase theory, only CP and small VP are phases, whereas TP and the big VP are not phases. And the formation of phases is regulated by PIC condition. So PIC condition indicates that when the computation builds a phase, its complement is sent to LF and PF by transfer, and it becomes inaccessible for further computation. Only the phase age, that is to say the head and its specifier, remains accessible. Now to the second part of this presentation, which deals with the analysis, in which I provide the analysis of resumptive of gap and resumptive in interrogatives in Moroccan Arabic. Following Pan's analysis of resumptive pronouns in Chinese, I argue that that in interrogatives with gaps, two features are involved: var feature and the phi feature. The var feature on the gap is valued, whereas the var feature on the complementizer is not valued. And on the other hand, the fee feature on the complementizer and on the gap is invalued, as shown here. Now I will move to the as for now I move to talk about the features that are on gapped inner interrogatives. So for inner interrogatives with the resumptive pronoun, I argue that the complementizer and the resumptive pronoun have the var and the fee features, and all of these features are invalued. In addition, for inner interrogatives in island context, I argue that gap inner interrogatives are formed by agree, whereas those with resumptive pronouns are formed by match. And concerning inner interrogatives in crossover context, I propose that in gapped inner interrogatives, the first relation between the gap and the resumptive epithet is formed through coreference, and the second relation between the gap and the complementizer is formed by agree. And in resumptive inner interrogatives, first relation between the pronoun and the resumptive epithet is formed by coreference, and the second relation between the pronoun and the inner interrogative is formed by coreference. So to illustrate how the formation of inner interrogatives with gaps proceed, consider this example here. In this example, the use of the gap makes the sentence, the structure grammatical, and the formation of this structure proceeds as follows. First, the gap relation between the resumptive pronoun and the resumptive epithet is formed by crossover, and similarly, the relation between resumptive pronoun and the inasora is formed by coreference. In addition, because the pronoun is neither a prime bound by inasora and nor a bound by the resumptive epithet, the structure does not violate crossover. So to the conclusion now, in this presentation I have provided a minimalist analysis of inner interrogatives in Moroccan Arabic within island and crossover context. For inner interrogatives in island context, I have argued that inner interrogatives with gaps are formed by agree, whereas those with resumptive pronouns are formed by match. And concerning inner interrogatives in crossover context, I have proposed that in gapped inner interrogatives, the first relation between the gap and the resumptive epithet is formed by coreference, and the second relation between the gap and the complementizer is formed by agree. Whereas in resumptive inner interrogatives, I have argued that the first relation between the pronoun and the resumptive epithet is formed by coreference, and the second relation between the pronoun and the inner interrogative is formed by coreference. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your attention. I would be happy to receive any question you may have.
Thank you very much, Si Mohammed Al-Muqaddam, for that excellent final presentation, and to all of our distinguished speakers for their truly insightful contributions throughout this conference. Let's go back to the discussion. The first question was answered by our speaker. Now let's move to the second question, which was shared by our friend Mr. Haddawi Muhammad. The question is addressed to Mr. Sabro Nasim. what has made Moroccan Arabic rich compared to other dialects?
Thank you, Mr. Hadawi, for your question. So, as we all know, Moroccan Arabic, which is Darija, is considered particularly rich compared to other Arabic dialects because of its unique blend of linguistic and also cultural influences. So, as we all know, centuries of contact with the Amazigh language of Morocco have left a strong imprint on the region, not only in terms of vocabulary, but also in its sound system and syllable structures, such as tolerance for complex clusters and so on. And later, colonial history and geographical proximity brought extensive, French and also Spanish borrowings. Like, for example, we can find automobile, which is automobile in French, a car. Also, sbat, which is capota in Spanish. We can also find nibira, which is also borrowed from the Spanish language, which is nevera, a fridge. So these influences enrich the lexicon and expanded expressive possibilities. When it comes to phonology, Moroccan Arabic preserves emphatic consonants and allows clusters that, I don't know, maybe other dialects cannot be as simple as in Morocco. Um, Morphologically and syntactically speaking, we can say that Moroccan Arabic shows flexibility through innovative verbs, forms, and practicals. Um, Also, some constructions such as the prefix ka. For example, in the progressive form, we can find kanakul, which is I'm eating. We can also find an example such as ghadi or ghadi nimshi, I will go. So, taking together this long history of multilingual contact, phonological complexity, and also grammatical innovation, um, you know, makes Moroccan Arabic one of the richest and most dynamic varieties of Arabic. So I hope this answers your questions, Mr. Mohammed.
Thank you, Mr. Sabro. Let's say with you just another question regarding your data. Could you tell us a bit more about your methodology? How did you collect the child language data?
So, as I mentioned before, my concern was only children. So I had to go with three age ranges, um, from 18 to 2 years, 18 months to 2 years. Also, the second age range was from 2 years to 3 years. And the third age range was from 3 years to 4 years old. So, concerning methodology, I had to record, of course, with the consent of the parents. I had to record around 10 to 15 uh, child in each age range. Each child was given a set of words with different syllable structure complexity. Um, After that, transcription and data presentation, there was, some analysis concerning each age range and how each age range deal with the complexity of syllable structure.
Thank you. Could you generalize the results?
So, as I said before, and as it was shown in the tableau, um, most children, in the early ages, they didn't feel, easy to pronounce such complexity in the syllable structure, especially in the complex syllable structures. After that, I can say that it became easy when it comes to the third age range. Children became more aware, or able to utter the complexity of syllable structure, which I think was very obvious that in the early ages, children were not able to pronounce, uh, such uh, structure of language.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sabro, for the your insightful presentation
Thank
and
you.
for your answering these questions. Mr. Amghar Adil, I'm curious, in your data collection, did you observe any dialectical or even ideological variation in this in the patterns that you shared with us?
Well, regarding verbs, so I have found that there is some consistency across speakers, especially I'm working on the region of Kenitra, but I have assessed some alternations regarding, especially with the third person singular feminine. Some some speakers say, for example, ktbat, some say ktbit, some with a, some with schwa, and even some speakers use them interchangeably. So this was the first alternation or variation I attested. Next, with the verbs cool and khud. So some speakers say in the imperfective cool, some say klit. Okay, so these are the main variations that I have attested in the data collection process. But generally, there is some consistency across all the respondents.
Thank you. How would these speakers learn Moroccan Arabic, or how those speakers of Moroccan Arabic figure out these rules? Do they understand that they follow rules, or just speaking like that? That's
No, so discovering or figuring out the rules, this is the job of the linguist. So the guys I have interviewed, they speak the language unconsciously. So I gave them verbs to conjugate with different pronouns. So I have recorded them. So they are unconscious about what happens there. So it was my job to dig into the linguistic structures and find out what happens there.
thank you, Sadi Amghar, for
No.
your insightful ideas and rational as well. Thank you so much. Now let's ask Mr. Saeed Rafi. There is a question that was shared by Abdurrahim Mutaki or Mutakil.
Okay.
Mr. Rafi, yes,
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. That's a
We hear
great
you.
question. I can read it. Why there is no constraint? I don't know if the question is for me or not, but I'm going to answer this question. Constraint has no effect on the winning candidate in my tableau since I'm deriving the output from another output. I have output mappings. For example, I will give him an example. Uh, let's take the word ktib. So the word ktib is derived from the input ktib. We have ktib with schwa epenthesis. I take that word ktib and derive ktabne from it. Okay, so this constraint of faithfulness constraint requires the output form of a word to be as similar to its input. So I don't have an input output mappings. I have output mappings. Okay, so there is no effect of that constraint that might give me a potential candidate to be a harmonic candidate or attested form in that secret language. I hope that I have answered your question.
Thank you, Si Said. Going back to your presentation, are there any variation in the between among the Knitra speakers?
So with regards to this secret language,
Yeah, indeed.
so they can just change the consonant k to f. For example, instead of saying sakunaid, they can say safunaid or satunaid. Okay. There is another secret language in Kenitra, which is uv. Instead of saying sakunaid, they say suvaid. There is another alternation, yeah, another secret language that infixes u instead of akun.
Is there an explanation of how do these speakers learn that secret language?
Okay, so actually, these secret languages are used among children. It's
Yeah.
considered as a language game. For example, let's say that I'm talking to Mr. Adil. Adil, can you please turn on the mic?
The
I'm
mic is
going to
on.
use this. Yes, I'm going to use this secret language to exclude all of you. So, أكون أدير كأكون أدير أكون بس أكون أنيا.
Actually, I don't speak this secret language, but I can use mine.
Yeah, you can use yours.
Says Sarsina Swin Caesar.
Okay,
So
thank
this
you,
is
Mr. Adil, for bringing this.
there are
to us.
plenty of secret languages, and people use them just kind of. I learned this language just to communicate with a friend of mine back in the I think more
Yeah,
than
yes.
20 years ago to speak with my friend without others knowing what we are saying.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adil, for bringing this up. So, if I want to exclude you, for example, Hamad, from our
Yeah.
conversation, I can start talking with my friend in that secret language. So basically, it came from prison. Yeah, they use it in prison to cipher what they are saying, uh, to exclude, the policeman there and stuff. Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much for
you are most welcome.
this valuable presentation and explanation. Let's go to Mr. Kajoti. Do you have any addition or any idea that you want to share with us in this discussion?
Uh,
Nabil.
My presentation was about hiatus resolution in many languages. I try to understand this phenomenon by going through so many languages, and I found out that many strategies adopted by different languages. The question here is how Moroccan Arabic would resolve the same problem. B- 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 I think by choosing one of the strategies that are well known worldwide. I digged into using city names. I collected the data and I shared it with my friends so that they confirm the pronunciation and after collecting the data, I try to put it into sets so that I can see the different alternations that occur in our language. The first set of data explained to me the process of nisba morpheme. When it is attached to a city, it gives us the from where we're talking. Like for example, Rabat, Rabati. So the second data, I found out that some city names with which end up with a vowel like sla, while touching the phoneme e, we end up with sla e. So the process is here is by inserting another semi-vowel, which is u. It gives us slawi. So the third set, I found out that some city names end up with a vowel, but the process doesn't happen like what happens in Slaslawi. Like for example, Qnitra, it should be Qnitrawi, but the actual form is Qnitri. So I try to understand what happens there. So I found that some constraints, like for example, the attaching the nisba morpheme to the base form and deleting any other morphemes there, like the feminine morpheme a, like Qnitra. So we delete it and attach the nisba morpheme to the city name Qnitra. It becomes Qnitri. So that's it. That's how I worked with the data and come up with the set of constraints that are ranked according to the language specific. I mean, grammar. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Kajouti. سي محمد المقدم, do you have any final thoughts?
In like phonology, in syntax, it's challenging to apply a certain theory to a certain syntactic issue. So in this in the data that I presented, it was difficult to apply the operation match, and because match is only concerned with the attributes or features, it was really difficult to apply it on Moroccan Arabic. So in like phonology, in which you just OT is somewhat is unlike MP, which only in OT you can deal with the variation, but in MP it's in MP it's difficult to account for variations in data.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Mohammed. Mr. Sabru, do you have any final thoughts?
Yes, just an answer for Mr. Haddawi. He said you have spoken about influences from French and Spanish, but what about influence from Amazigh varieties? Well, unfortunately, I'm not a speaker of any variety of Amazigh, but it is clear and undeniable that Amazigh language has a huge influence on Moroccan Arabic. Phonologically, Moroccan Arabic allows complex consonant clusters, something unusual in other Arabic dialects, but very common in Amazigh. For example, the presence of uvulars and emphatics is also strengthened by the Amazigh contact, which helps explain why Moroccan Arabic sounds are, kind of heavier for other dialects and more consonant rich compared to other dialects. And also in everyday speech, in bilingual regions, code switching between Darija and Amazigh has reinforced, a lot of things, which, with speakers among, the Amazigh speakers and the Moroccan Arabic speakers.
Thank you. Mr. Amghar Adil, any final thoughts? Please activate the mic.
The mic is on. So final thoughts, I want just to add something regarding what Mr. Nassim has said. So the Amazigh language allows words with the least number of vowels, so clusters. So there are plenty of articles about vowel-less words in Amazigh, and this is attested only in Moroccan Arabic and some Algerian Arabic. So as you go east, this consonantal clusters vanishes. As I said, because the syllable structure of standard Arabic or all Arabic varieties is a CV structure. So you find CV, a sequence of CV structures. But in Moroccan Arabic and Algerian Arabic, there is this complexity of syllable structures, especially in onsets and codas. And this is justified by the influence of Amazigh on these Arabic varieties. And not only in phonology, but the influence is also attested in morphology and a bit, a little on syntax. But in morphology and phonology, it is widely attested.
Thank you, Mr. Mughar. Mr. Rafi' Saeed, any final thoughts?
I'm sorry. I just want to add another phenomenon regarding Amazigh. Onsetless syllable. Sorry. We had this evidence from Tamazight, the adaptation of some words from Tamazight to Moroccan Arabic. For example, the word ashlhi. Ashlhi starts with a vowel, but when it is adapted to Moroccan Arabic, we have shulh. This gives us that Moroccan Arabic doesn't allow onsetless syllable from the adaptation of words from Tamazight. Yes, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Rafi'. Thank you all for your truly insightful contributions throughout this conference. On behalf of the Bitlisaniyat Academy and the entire organizing committee, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to each and every one of you, our brilliant presenters, and our engaged audience for making this event such profound success. Today, we have journeyed through the complex architecture of Moroccan Arabic, from the acquisition of syllable structures and patterns of epimethys to the secrets of infixation through the resolution of pause and the theoretical frameworks to unlock the complexities of Darija, Moroccan Arabic. As we conclude, I would like to offer two key recommendations that have emerged from today's discussions. So, cross dialectical collaboration, we encourage researchers to pursue comparative studies across different Moroccan dialectics and dialects and other Arabic varieties, because there are differences between Moroccan Arabic users. For example, speakers from Chitwan are not the same as those from Sahara, the region where I live. For example, in Rashidia, there are different shapes or different variations of Arabic language use. This will help to determine the universality of the constraints ranking and syntactic operations proposed today, moving towards a more comprehensive theory of Arabic linguistics. The second recommendation is bridging theory and application. We see that there is a great opportunity to bridge this accurate theoretical framework with applied field such as artificial intelligence, language modeling, and pedagogy, because these days, if you ask the artificial intelligence using Darija, it answers you using the same dialect. So there is an opportunity to study this feedback from the artificial intelligence, and we can include this theoretical framework in teaching Arabic to non-speakers. So the conversation we have started here today are conversations, so they are crucial. The ideas and the questions that we raised, we encourage you all to continue this dialogue, to collaborate and build up on this fundamental or foundational knowledge shared in this platform. For the attendance, free attendance certificate will be provided. A special thank you again to our organizers, supervisors, technical team, and our incredible speakers. So this concludes the conference. So thank you for your valuable participation. Good night and goodbye from all of us at Bitlisaniyat
Thank you, Mr.
Academy.
Ahmed. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Ahmed.
you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you.